All right, let's get into lead generation and how to approach people without coming across pushy, rude, or salesy. Now, this is a very, 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 very common thing. How do I approach people? What's the mindset of approaching people? So that's what we're going to cover today. All right. But before we get started, first things first, you need to know who you're targeting, AKA who your market is, who you're trying to serve. Very, very important. Because how do you know how to talk to someone if you don't know who you're talking to, right? So that's exactly what we're going to kind of get into. I know, mind blown. So a few tips on getting started. Picking a niche, right? What is your niche? What is your audience? Who are you targeting? Who are you talking to, right? That could be, plumbers, salon owners, right? E-commerce, the solar industry, etc. That doesn't matter who it is that you're serving. You just need to pick one and know who you're talking to and how to talk to them. That's exactly what we're going to cover today. So next is, where are they hanging out? Right? Where are they hanging out? That means think social platforms like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, etc. You got to figure out where they're hanging out, because yes, of course, where they hang out is actually going to change the way that you approach them. It's going to dictate how you approach them. Because each platform has its own vibe, So here are a couple of suggestions based on some niche and industries. All right. So what I would suggest is just do some quick research to determine where you believe your ideal customers are hanging out, right? You have to do some research, because if you don't, you're not really going to know exactly where to go to look for them. And if you don't know where to go to look for them, you're never going to find them, right? So do not assume that you know where they're hanging out. This is a pro tip. Pro tip, do not assume, don't be lazy, do the work and just find them. We're going to cover more of that, don't worry. So number two is, think about the vibe that is within this industry before you reach out. Like what vibe does this industry have, right? How do you want to act around them? Here's another pro tip. Are they a fun industry? Are they a serious industry? Can you approach them, in a more playful way with a joke or something, right? Or do you need to treat them more like a suit and tie corporation, where it's a little bit more serious, where they're all business and they get straight down to business and they're a lot more straightforward, right? These are all things that are really going to apply with how you talk to your ideal customers. So think about what Facebook groups they might be in, right? Think about this. There's a group literally for everything that it seems. As I was preparing the slides for this and preparing this conversation with you guys, I was looking at just a bunch of random groups just to see what was out there. And there's like a group for everything. So chances are your audience is more than likely hanging out somewhere on Facebook, or maybe even LinkedIn. LinkedIn has groups as well. You can always search on LinkedIn, do the exact same thing that I did on Facebook, but I came across two broke mamas sales. So that's got 323 members. They post about 10 times a week. And this is a group. So this is kind of interesting. What might be in there? Who knows? They got a marketing for broke folks who don't want to stay that way. Sorry. So I found this group, 167 members, 2 posts a month, not quite like the engagement. All I'm doing is kind of showing you the fact that there are, there's groups for everybody, right? And there's another one, nurses with side hustles. This was a little bit more serious of a search I did for a client of mine. When I found this, I was like, this is perfect, because they're looking for more of a career-driven, industry where it could be doctors or nurses, whatever, that are looking to start a side hustle. So this was perfect, right? So my point being, there's a group for everything, it seems like. So your ideal customer is more than likely hanging out somewhere, right? Think about the problems that they have. Think about the things that they might be searching for. These are all going to really help you get in the mind of your actual ideal customer. Okay, so moving on, we got think about what types of events they might actually attend. You got to get inside their head, right? Inside their head, what types of events might they attend? Pro tip, again, using Google or Facebook, right? Either one, it's fine. Type in industry, niche, convention, followed by convention or events, right? There's usually something interesting that you can kind of work off of. So for example, I did a search just on Google for plumbing, right? I just said plumbing events this year, or plumbing events coming up, or something like that. And this thing came up, plumbing trade shows to attend in 2022, 2023. So what do you think you could do with that? I would take something over to Facebook once I figure out the name of this trade show, take it over to Facebook, see what kind of members are inside of that Facebook group. And if that is leading you to like, you know, plumbers and plumbing industry owners, or plumbing business owners, right? There you go. There's your ideal customers hanging out right there. You know exactly where they attend. This gives you an in. Hey, I saw that you were attending or thinking about attending this group, right? It's a great opener. Same thing applies on Facebook. When you do a search, I know it's kind of small, but when you do a search, you can always do the same type of thing, right? In this case, I did like e-commerce marketing because people in e-commerce are probably looking for support to do marketing stuff, right? So I went and did e-commerce marketing, and then I went to events on the bottom, as you can see, it's highlighted there. And then you just see what you have. You just have fun with it. You just have fun with different types of searches and see what there is, right? So once you determine where they're hanging out and what their overall vibe is, you can use this to your advantage. Like I said, you can use this to a major point of your advantage and be able to talk to them in the way that they'd like to be spoken to, right? And people vibe better with other people that understand them. So the better you are at understanding them and digging into who they are, where they hang out, what their vibe is, what their problems are, all of that, the more likely that they're going to be, you know, being able to resonate with you. And this is especially true when it comes to problem solving, right? To solving their problems. Like, I'm going to vibe with you because you understand what I'm trying to accomplish, what my problem is, my bottlenecks are. So if you can manage to understand, relate, and communicate to your ideal customer, rapport building becomes easy, right? Building that rapport becomes easy because they trust you. They're like, hey, this person actually cares. This person is genuine and authentic. They're listening to me. Very, very important to make someone feel nice, warm, and cozy, right? So let's talk about the mindset behind approaching people now, right? Now that we know who they are, where they hang out, what events they attend to, what their vibe is, all that kind of stuff, let's talk about how we actually approach them, okay? So the goal is to be as pushy, rude, and salesy as possible by going straight after the booked call. Not. For those that know who Borat is, that scene is the best where he's like, my suit is black, not. Anyway, I digress. But that is not the goal, all right? What is the goal? The goal is to, drum roll, show interest in them. Not just that, show interest in them, get them to respond to your message, right? Get them to respond, and then just get them again to know, like, and trust you, all right? Get them to know that you're interested in them, get them to respond to your message, and get them to know, like, and trust you. Simple. Show that you are interested in them and not trying to be interesting to them, okay? So that means, here's a very important note, that means do not flex, right? That your processes are proven and predictable. They really don't care. They really, 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 really do not care because they don't know you yet. They don't care about your processes. You can talk all day long about how many results you've gotten your clients and how predictable your outcomes are and how proven your processes are and all that stuff. And that's what I mean by flexing. You're trying to show off and they don't care because they don't know you. All right. So here's the approach. Let's get into it. The approach. When you approach them, you can approach it as if you are just trying to collect some market research. This has worked really well for me and other clients of mine. So you can just treat it as if you're trying to collect some market research. It takes the pressure way off, right? You can say something like, hey, Bob, I am also involved in the plumbing industry. Was wondering if I could ask you a quick question that I promise won't be sales related. Okay, won't be sales related. Why are we doing this? Because it relieves the pressure of them saying, sure, like, I don't want to be sold to though. What's up? And they're like, oh, okay, well, never mind, right? So they're getting smart nowadays. So this way, you're opening them up to responding without pressure, okay? People are curious. People like to help and feel useful, and especially business owners. They're in business because they like to help people or they're passionate about this certain industry. They want to feel useful. People are just curious by nature, right? So use that to your advantage. And here's a pro tip for extra brownie points. You can also approach it with hitting them with a compliment first, right? Compliment them and then asking for permission to ask them a no sales question, right? Here's an example. Hey, Bob, I am also involved in the plumbing industry space, and I really admire the way you run your business and keep your customers happy. I checked out your reviews, and I am really impressed. Would it be okay if I blank? You move into the question, right? People love to be complimented. It makes them feel good, makes them feel appreciated and noticed, right? So feed off of that. This is not unethical if it's a legitimate compliment. This is something that you would do, is look at their results, look at the reviews, and determine, hey, this person does a great job. So use that to your advantage. Again, all of this is totally like appropriate when you're trying to earn the trust of someone else. Okay. Now, what's the question? Great question. You can ask something like this. What's been your biggest challenge within the blank space, the plumbing space, the salon space, the e-commerce space? What's been your biggest challenge, right? What's been your biggest challenge? Especially if you're coming at it in a very authentic way. Now, the next question is, you could say something very similar, just rephrased in a different way. If there was a wish, sorry, if there was a wish that someone could grant you to solve your biggest challenge growing blank, right? Insert their business name. So maybe it's like plumminggalaxy.com, whatever. If there was one wish that someone could grant you to solve their biggest challenge growing plumbing galaxy, what would that be? Right? You could also ask, what is your vision and big goal for plumbing galaxy? Right? What's their big vision? What's their goal? Share it with someone. Like, people love to talk about themselves. You just have to allow people to let them do that, right? So when you ask these questions, it's still gearing towards a business conversation. You're not asking about like, how's your marriage? Because that's not going to gear you quite towards the right direction. So you could use these questions to really help you kind of navigate the conversation in a way that's still business, but it's friendly, it's curious, it's interesting. You're showing interest in them, right? So get them to open up and respond. That's the goal. The approach is get them to open up and respond. Okay. Now, you can also consider this like a survey, right? Where you survey them until you get a good grip on what this industry typically struggles with. So if you message 100 people and you get, more or less pretty much the same type of problems, challenges, and visions that most of these industry owners have, then you could probably, it might be safe to assume, right? Safe to educated assumptions that this is a common thing that they encounter. This is a common vision they usually have. And that's great. Again, all this is stuff that's going to help you get better. So it's not quite a, time waster, if you want to call it that, like where you're just kind of chatting with people online. Yes, but you're also gathering information from your ideal customers. You're engaging with them. You're getting in the head and the mind of them, so you know exactly how to navigate the rest of your marketing materials, the rest of your lead magnets, the rest of your messages and all that kind of stuff, right? It's going to help you in the long run for sure. So then from there, just continue engaging with them. Just keep going back and forth. Just keep talking to them, right? Just keep building that trust and keep showing that you're interested in them. And keep the conversation going. Try not to, here's another tip for you guys that I didn't actually put on the slide. So make sure that you're asking open-ended questions. You're not asking closed-ended questions. Now, what does that mean? That means you're not asking yes or no responses. You're not asking anything that's going to be one-word answers. You're going to ask questions like, what's your biggest challenge? They're not going to say money, right? And if they are, then they may not be interested. They might be a little bit more closed off. That's fine. There's ways to navigate that too. So pro tip, right? At the appropriate time, you'll know when that is. Usually it's after a few back and forths. You can say something like, I actually have some thoughts on this particular subject. If you'd like to talk a bit deeper about it, right? Let me know if you want to talk a little bit deeper about it. Or you can say something like, if you'd like, maybe we can find some time to chat for a few minutes. I'd love to share with you what I have learned about this problem that you just mentioned, and could possibly either create some content around this or maybe point you in the right direction to help support you. Right? You can get them on the call and kind of like continue the conversation on the phone or on Zoom, whatever your preference is, right? But when you do that, the goal is to help, build your authority for them so they see you like the authority. Okay. Very big important thing. So once you show that they can be safe with you and they won't be tricked or cornered into a sales conversation, they will more than likely be willing to hop on a call with you to talk further. Let them know that they're safe. You almost have to treat it. One of my clients actually said, I had to treat this person as if they were a feral cat. So it's okay. Come here. It's all right. We're safe. Don't worry. Like, I'm not going to hurt you. Come on out. There's food. There's water. Right? So same thing. Let them know they're safe. They're not going to be pressured. They're not going to be pushed. Right? Again, the goal is not to go straight for the kill and suggest booking a call with you. You do not want to do that, because when you send them a calendar link, do not send them a calendar link without context. When you send that to them without context, they will turn away real quick. They're not going to respond most of the time. And if they do, they'll say, great, I'll find some time eventually when I have a chance to look at it, right? So you don't want to put them in that position. You want them to get excited and feel like, yeah, okay, great, this person's going to fix this problem. That's awesome. So you want them to feel like that, okay? So at the end of the day, the goal with prospecting and lead generation is to find out what problems they need solving, right? Number one, figure out how to go get it for them. That's number two, right? Figure out what problems they need solving and figure out how to go get that solution to their problem for them. Then you literally give that to them in exchange for money. That's the goal of prospecting and lead generation. You want to find out what problems need solving within this community, within this agency, or agency, this niche, this audience, this industry, right? Figure out how to solve that problem, figure out how to fix that, do your own research, ask your own contractors, ask your own team, right? People in your own community, ask us, that's totally fine. Give it to them in exchange for money, right? Do your due diligence and put the work in so that you can actually wrap your head around all of this and understand exactly how to navigate the conversations on your own without having to do some copy and paste stuff, right? So you're going to do all this over and over and over again, agency ATM style, all right? I promise if you do this correctly, you're going to get calls booked like crazy, and they're going to feel a lot more comfortable with you. They're going to have a lot less, resistance when you get on the call with them. They're going to feel a lot more comfortable with you. So if you go this route, I guarantee, and I don't say that very loosely, I say that because I believe in it. I've done it. I've done it for clients. I've taught other clients how to do it. Now I'm showing you guys all the secrets. I hope you guys take that seriously. And one of the other lessons, we're actually going to talk about the mindset again behind lead generation and how when you start lead generation and you start reaching out, how that whole mindset conversation will be very different from this one, but still very much relevant and necessary. But I wanted to prime your mind first to let you know this is the way to do it. All right. So hope that was helpful, guys, and I'll see you in the next lesson.